a beautiful day in New York City. The weather is really, really nice, just my kind of weather. I felt like wearing a skirt today that I haven't worn in years, and I normally wear it for church, and I'm like, why not wear it to work, you know? So I wore it with a shirt and a blazer, and it is that type of weather. It's definitely blazer weather, hoodie weather. And so I was just thinking today's topic, what really forms our personalities? What makes us who we are? I think I spoke about this in a previous video. And for me personally, I think what formed my personality is New York City. Someone's always honking their horn. I think that is so rude. Anyway, so where was I? Yes. So for me personally, what formed my personality is looking at the adults in my life that I didn't think that were good, and I told myself I didn't want to be that. So someone who I didn't think was accomplished, or someone who I thought wasn't a good person or a nice person, I learned to be opposite. And for the people who I looked up to, like the women in the church, or teachers, or people who I saw, that person, people gravitate to that person. What is it about them? They're honest, they keep it real. So those characteristic traits that we fall in love with, we become. Or sometimes you're forced to be a certain type of way. Today at work, it was interesting because one of my clients, he was talking about a colleague of mine that unfortunately, she has like a little reputation of being rude. So I'm like, well, it's not only you. But when I was thinking about her, because someone taught her to be like that. There's no excuse, and when you become an adult, you decide who you want to be. But some people are forced to have what they call a thick skin, depending on your upbringing. Like, I have a thick skin, but I learned to ignore people, because there's nothing that you could say to me that's as hurtful as what I've already heard 20 years ago, right? 30 years ago. Like, most of us who grow up in households, we didn't grow up in the nicest household. So when somebody says something negative to us, it's like, whatever. It's like water off a duck's back at this point, because we know that we're more than conquerors. We know that we're a somebody. Like, nobody could ever come to me and say, well, you're an idiot. I've accomplished so much in my life that I know that that's not true, right? So I think what really forms our personalities is not just what we've been through, but what we want to become, right? You look at somebody, you look at something, you say, I admire that, right? Or some people say, well, a lot of people say, well, you should be a lawyer, because that's just my personality, to defend people. I'm always defending somebody. Especially if I have two facts, I'm going in, So, and people defend me too, but some people make excuses for people. Now, you have some really nasty, rotten people. You have some really to the core. But there's always a backstory for that. There's always, as I'm into my mid-30s, into my late 30s, instead of judging people, even if they're wrong, I try to understand people. Like, for example, a person who's extremely nosy, right? We all know somebody, whether they be nosy in a leisure sense of the word, like they want to know the latest gossip, that comes from something. So maybe their grandmother, maybe even a male in their life, was always into the latest gossip. So then that trickled on to them. Or maybe well, why does this person, like, I was never a person, like, growing up, I'm sure we all had this kid in our class that they want to know what you got on the test. Even in college, I remember this Haitian girl, and no shade of Haitian people, but she annoyed the shit out of me. Like, she would be absent from class and then ask to copy my notes, and I'm like, well, why you can't just come to class? Like, I think that's just one of my pet peeves. Work is one thing, but class is once a week. You can't come to class once a week. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't have tolerance for that. Like, if I was a professor, I would be strict, because this class is once a week. If you can't come to class once a week, then maybe college is not for you. Like, for real. This is not trade school where you have to come every day. This is college. This is your education that you're paying for. So she would piss me off, and she would sit there and copy slowly. I'm like, yo, you gotta take a picture and let's go. So she's like, oh, you going to your man? I'm like, yeah, I am. And even if I didn't have one at the time, like, that's besides the point. But she was the same personality that would always, she worrying about everybody else. What did you get on the test? I passed. And when she failed, she was like not happy for me. And I thought that was weird, because it's like, okay, you should still be happy for somebody. Like, I don't know, I'm just different. But she obviously, I said all that to say this, that comes from childhood. She probably was doing that in grammar school, middle school, and she probably don't even realize how annoying that is. Like, I hate stuff like that, especially if I got higher than you. Like, but little characteristic traits, they literally come from childhood, or like a better example, even another example. I remember when I was a para, you always had a sub that barely came to work, that was worried about who's permanent and who's not permanent, who full-time and who not full-time. Oh, they asked you to come back next year? Yeah, they did. Oh, they didn't ask me. Okay. And in some schools, they'll cut you off right before the new year, but it's who they like, it's politics. No, it is personal. But, you could be, and this is for substitute teacher or substitute para, you could be out of school for a month, right? Only some people are going to get called back to come the following month and the following month and the following month. It's who the principal like, and also you have to build a rapport with the teachers. And I think that's for like most jobs. You have to make sure you keep a rapport with people, because they are the ones to say yay or nay. And that's just the way it goes. So, a lot of people get mad at people who barely work, and you say, well, this person doesn't do anything, but they're still here. Yeah, it's because they know how to have a rapport with the people who matter. And that's what life is about. Work hard, of course, but work smart. But yeah, like, that used to get on my nerves with like certain sub-paras, and they'll ask you like, oh, did they ask you to come back? And it's like, yes. Why are you worried about me? Like, that's just one of my biggest pet peeves, like people who worry about other people. So comment, like, and subscribe. What was your pet peeve like when you was a kid versus as an adult? My pet peeves are the same. When I was a kid, I didn't really go through a lot of liars, but as an adult, I hate liars, because it's like, we grown. What the hell? Like, I think I said this in a previous video. When I was a kid, I lied about certain things about my household, but I was a kid, you know what I'm saying? And I was more private back then. Like, I wasn't shy, but I'm not going to sit there and tell you my life story, because who are you? And I'm the same way now. I try to be like the same way now, but I'm more open. But it's like, I'll sit there and hang out with you. You could know me for 20 years and still not know me, and it's important to keep things, to yourself. Everybody is not for you. Everybody is not your friend. Some people are just a long-term associate. But that's another topic for another day. But yeah, comment, like, and subscribe. I went over the time. I wanted to do a 5-minute video today. But yeah, comment, like, and subscribe. What was your personality type as a kid versus now? And do you have the same dislikes? Do you think, I mean, obviously your likes and dislikes are gonna change as you get older. Like, I used to love Chinese food as a kid, but now it's disgusting. You know, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like characteristics, like, you know, maybe as a young lady, you know, like my favorite color was pink as a girl. It's still my favorite color, but I'm open to different colors. Whatchamacallit? Like, certain things about me is the same. Of course, I've evolved as a person. But yeah, what were your likes and dislikes? What are your pet peeves? And what do you think makes your personality? Comment, like, subscribe.